This is the story of Rein, a very nice boy who has the ability to make pacts with animals and beasts.
Everyone thinks he is a loser, but he hides a great potential. Everything seemed happy for him, but the other members of his group didn't think so. One day the other members of his group met with him. They told him that they did not like a useless person being in their group and that he was more of a burden. They told him that on every mission he was late and lazy. All those words were lies. Rein thought that this group considered him an important piece, but he was not, he was just a burden. The leader tells him to leave and hand over all the things they gave him. As he left, the other members of his group laughed at him. He left the place in great sorrow.
As he rested on a bench, he couldn't help but remember the most important moments with his group.
He thought they were giving him advice to improve him as a warrior, but it turned out that the things they were telling him were out of pure malice. Now that he was without money or a job, he didn't know what to do. Some children wanted to play with him. Although he was sad, he decided to relax a little and play. As he was a beast tamer, as a demonstration, he makes a temporary pact with an eagle.
The eagle gives a greeting to all of them, being something incredible.
The boys are surprised that he is so kind, not like the hero who behaved like a cretin. Rein realizes that he was now free as a bird. He no longer needed to follow anyone's orders, so he decides to become an adventurer. Arriving at the Adventurers Guild, he asks for information in order to become a member. They explained many details and gave him a mission to become one. He was asked to find a group to fulfill missions, but he remembers that he was expelled by his group, so he prefers to be a lone adventurer. They give him a mission so he can defeat some of the goblins that invaded some villages. Even though he was not strong, he still had a chance to win. With a little strategy he manages to eliminate this goblin and collect some emeralds to accomplish the mission. A voice can be heard from the forest. This boy quickly goes to see what happens. A girl was about to be devoured by a lion. The protagonist, with a little skill, he tries to defend her, but it was useless. That beast was going to devour him. The girl who was saved channeled some of her power and gave a very powerful kick to defeat the beast. The protagonist was mesmerized by the beauty of this woman. As he watches, he realizes that this girl belonged to a species with special powers. The woman had used all her magical power, so she ended up fainting. The protagonist managed to save her by a little. He thought she was injured, but she was actually asleep. He gave her some of his food to calm this girl down and couldn't believe that this simple kitty could defeat a beast. Now that she was calmer, she introduces herself as Kanade. The protagonist wonders why she was in this place, as a special spice should be with her race. She says that place was very boring with a lot of rules, so she preferred to explore the world on her own. As fate would have it, they met. As they walked together, Rein told her about how he was kicked out of their group like a dog.
"How dare you," says the kitten.
But Rein tells her it was for the best. Now that he is out of that group, he felt better, but he couldn't be a wimp anymore. She admires him because Rein was very strong in his thoughts. She asks him not to consider himself a wimp, as she could observe his bravery when it came to fighting that beast. As she was a special spirit, she could feel that this boy had the ability to control special beasts. He considers himself a simple beast tamer, but now a pretty girl is telling him that he could tame her. It was something incredible. Kanade asks him to try. She knew this boy was kind-hearted. Using a blood pact, Rein managed to make the pact and everything went well. Now they would be closer than ever. She accepted the pact because she felt it was her destiny to serve this boy. After some hard work, he handed in the requirements to become an adventurer. The receptionist handed him his adventurer's license. She tells him to try hard and that he will surely be an experienced adventurer later on. Kanade is glad that her master has become an adventurer. She is happy about that. Another adventurer observes that this cat girl was a special spirit. In a grotesque and terrible way, he tells her to join his group. She says that her owner is Rein and that she is already tamed. This causes that man to start laughing. It was something no beast tamer has ever been able to do. This obnoxious man has a proposal for them. If he loses in a battle of strength, he must give her Kanade. She says that is absurd and asks Rein to leave. Something inside the protagonist told him to accept. He could not allow someone to insult Kanade. The man seemed confident in his victory, but Rein defeated him very easily. The receptionist was tired of this man and beat him up so he would stop bothering the other adventurers. The protagonist noticed that his physical abilities had increased, but because Kanade explains to him that they are now bound by the pact, now Rein was as strong as she was. They go in search of more quests to accomplish, but they only received quests to collect medicinal herbs, because it was low rank. The protagonist, using his control skills, was able to control many rabbits and obtain all the herbs. When they were returning to the guild, some bandits had robbed a poor old man. They decide to test their skills by fighting against these criminals. During the fight, Rein managed to stand out too much. Kanade observes how this boy looked so handsome fighting. Something inside her made her feel good. They defeated the robbers. This old man explains that he had hired the hero and his group to protect him, but they had fled when they saw the robbers. The old man tells them that in these areas there are many thieves and the ones they defeated are very few, surely more will come. So Rein has an idea: find the lair of the remaining thieves and put an end to the problem. This answer surprised the rest. The protagonist went in search of more animals in order to make a temporary pact. Using some bees and other animals, he managed to find the lair of these thieves. Rein knows that the fight is going to be difficult. He asks Kanade to go in search of the city warriors and the adventurers in order to arrest them. She is very obedient and decides to go for help. Kanade tells her to be careful and leaves. Rein had tamed a lot of wasps and other animals. It was time to fight against these thieves. In a faraway place, some girls had fled far away. They had to protect an old man, but they had run away from some robbers. One of them was very angry for not being able to fight and started to scold one of the employees she hired. These girls belonged to the heroes group and thought they were superior to anyone else. The person they hired was a beast tamer, just like Rein. This girl scolds him for not knowing how to tame more than one beast, calling him useless. This man is surprised at what he is hearing. He says that no beast tamer could tame more than one animal. This stuck-up girl doesn't plan to accept that Rein was someone special, so she decides to blame this guy in case they run into trouble. Thanks to the wasps, the protagonist had managed to neutralize all these criminals inside the lair without much trouble. Before long, Kanade had returned with many adventurers. It was now much easier to arrest these thieves. Rein is surprised that the knights did not come to help them. The protagonist touches his head for the help. When everything seems to be finished, some real lizards appear to cause destruction in these caves. These beasts are completely unleashed. Rein and Kanade decide to go head-to-head against these lizards. The protagonist realizes that being kicked out of his previous team was the best thing that ever happened to him. If it had not been for that, he would not be happy now. After a few hours of fighting, the adventurers received them with joy. He was happy to have a companion like Kanade. More at night, they were finally able to rent a room to stay, but for some reason there are only them. The innkeeper thinks that this pair were sweethearts. As he had achieved the merit of capturing the thieves, he had been assigned to rank E. With that came the money. They ate well, and it was time to sleep. As it was the only room, Rein was afraid of being able to sleep next to this girl. He tells her that he is afraid of doing something. Kanade says not to worry, that there will be no problems. The protagonist asks her not to be naive. If another man would be with her, she could be in trouble. She says that Rein is not another person, they are partners. She trusts him and knows he won't do anything wrong. Rein recognizes his mistake, so he decides to stay with her. While they were sleeping, Kanade remembers the journey she was on. She being a very special spirit, many humans had tried to trick her. Those people only wanted money and power by having her. But everything had changed when she met a kind man like Rein. She tries to understand Rein's feelings. She imagines how the heroes group had treated this boy so badly.
She promises never to leave him and will always be with him. During the following days, the two of them will go on missions to get money. Today, the receptionist had a mission for them. She explains that something has been hitting the people crossing the bridge. Although there were no deaths, people were afraid to cross it. So this mission will be entrusted to Rein. When they arrived at the bridge, they realized that it was the prestigious bridge connecting two continents. They asked the injured people who hit them, but no one answered. When they saw in the distance, a dragon was flying through the air. That dragon descended and transformed into a beautiful woman. This girl challenges them to fight. The protagonist can't believe that the one causing trouble is this woman. She introduces herself as Tanya, the dragon protector of this bridge. According to the laws of the dragons, when they turn 15 they must go for training and strengthening. Tanya states that she will never leave this bridge unless she is defeated. If the two fight at the same time it would be fine with her. Rein and Kanade are ready for the fight. Tanya starts the fight with a direct attack and uses fire skills for the fight. Kanade was burning her tail. Kanade got angry and the fight became more and more interesting. Tanya is glad that she can find some enemies worthy of using her magic powers. Rein remembers that he is the protagonist of this story and says that he has an idea to defeat Tanya. He just needed her to distract the dragon. Kanade accepts the challenge and she does not intend to lose. Meanwhile, the protagonist had observed some birds in the sky. He quickly returns to the fight. He says that his victory is already assured and then he will show her his victory. Birds begin to peck at Tanya's body. She manages to dodge the birds without much difficulty. She scoffs that this is her trump card, when suddenly she starts to feel dizzy. Rein explains to her that these birds are actually poisonous. This species only inhabits inside dangerous places, like this bridge. She had received a large amount of poison. She could not move completely. In the end she had no choice but to give up. The protagonist asks her to come with him. She says that they surely want to enslave her. Rein says not to exaggerate. He just wants to make sure she won't cause trouble again. She doesn't want to, but Kanade starts touching her body. Tanya feels vulnerable. Later Rein returned to the Adventurers Guild to report that he found the culprit and made him promise never to hit people again. The naive receptionist believes him. A mysterious girl is next to Rein and attracted everyone's attention, but Rein tries to lie about this girl's origins. Tanya wants to say that she is a dragon, but is silenced again. They explain to her that a dragon would cause trouble, but she continues to walk around like she's at home. After scolding her a bit, they ask her to go far away and not to bother the other people. She is surprised that this is the punishment. Rein explains that it is not necessary to capture her. With how little he knew her, he could understand that it was punishment enough for her. Kanade is worried, because she knows that dragons are always training and she could cause trouble again. Tanya says she has solution for that, which is that from now on she will join their group. Since she had lost to these guys it would be good training to be with them. She openly says that she would like to be with Rein. The protagonist says he doesn't mind Tanya being in the group. Kanade seems to be jealous, but he also can't deny that Tanya is a good choice for the group. Tanya knew that Kanade and Rein had a pact. She wants them to trust her, so she decides to accept a blood pact with the protagonist. The pact went through without any problems. He was now connected to Tanya. Tanya now had a master to serve. On the other hand, the heroes group was tired. They could not perform the missions easily. Rein always carried things with his animals, but now they could not do something as simple as carrying items. The hero was tired of wasting time. They just need to call Rein back to help them in their mission and then they will get rid of him again. Now they formed a team of 3. Today they had to defeat some slimes as part of a mission. As time went on, Tanya and Kanade were getting along very well. They couldn't find those slimes to eliminate them. Rein explains that he has another ability, which was to put his spirit inside animals. He goes inside a bird, explains to the girls that he will fly through the air to see where the slimes are. After a while he managed to find all the slimes, but there were too many of them. Tanya had a suspicion about Rein's abilities. she asks him to use fire magic. Rein doesn't understand why she asks him to do this, since he wasn't good at magic. Tanya asks him to just do it. Rein concentrates his magic to generate a fire attack. After a short while he manages to generate a very powerful fire attack. In this way he managed to eliminate all the slimes in one attack. Tanya says that she could imagine that, because he had a high magical power. She says that Rein had the ability to use magical abilities of the people who make pact with him. For that reason the fire magic he used was because he had obtained Tanya's abilities. Then Rein was someone special capable of acquiring special spirit abilities like them. The protagonist asks her to teach him how to use fire magic. Tanya ends up scolding Rein because he wasn't doing it very well. Later they return to the city to deliver the mission accomplished, and best of all they now had more money. All the people thought that these girls were weird. It was better that way so as not to attract people's attention. The funny thing was that these girls ate more than a pig. Tanya asks how she learned to tame beasts. The protagonist trusted these girls. He says that in the town where he lived they taught him to tame all kinds of beasts and even insects. It was a nameless little town that no longer existed. The girls are sad about his past and apologize for asking such a sad question. Rein says no problem, the truth will be better to talk about his past to build more trust. Then Rein continued with his story. One day he went to practice his magic outside the village. He practiced so much that it became night. Suddenly he noticed something glowing from the village. When he returned the whole village was on fire. Demons had attacked the village. Rein was the only one who had survived. His parents, his grandparents and the townspeople had all died. Some adventurers had come to the village to save him. From that day on he had to fend for himself to survive. The sad life he was having changed when he met Arios. Arios was the hero of the kingdom. He needed people to form a group. Rein did not hesitate to accept this request. He thought that if he joined them he could change things and avoid the same thing that happened to his people. Rein was doing his best not to be a burden, but in reality he was being used as a simple pawn to carry the hero's things. Rein apologizes for telling them something very sad. Kanade tells him not to feel bad, since the first day they met Rein had proven to be a nice and kind-hearted person. She tells her that he is not a failure. Tanya also tells him that he is too humble. She is proud to have such a good master. The protagonist can't believe that such nice girls are completely different from the group he had. The girls are angry at the hero and his group for treating Rein badly. Thus the night was over. The next day they were on a difficult mission, fighting ogres. Tanya is very confident that she can defeat these ogres with ease and tells the others that she will take care of defeating them. She gets far enough away from the others and an orc grabs her feet, causing her to fall, and an orc from behind was about to attack. Tanya thought she was going to die, but Rein arrived in time to save her. He had used his body to protect her, being wounded. Rein seemed calm, but Tanya could not forget the fact that she was powerful. Her confidence caused her master to have been hurt. Tanya was very sad. She was reflecting on the bad attitude she had by behaving very arrogantly. The protagonist went to talk to her. The only thing Tanya could say was to apologize for being so arrogant. Rein tells her not to worry, as long as she is fine everything else doesn't matter, just be careful next time. Tanya was glad to be able to find someone with a good heart. She didn't know what she was feeling. She seemed to have somehow fallen in love with Rein. The next day it was time for more adventures and to accomplish more missions. As they walk through the quiet landscape and friendly chatter, something freezes Rein's gaze. Arios and his group are here. The two groups look at each other. Rein regains his senses and decides to ignore his former colleagues. Arios talks to him and tells him why he is ignoring them if they used to be partners. Tanya asks if they are Rein's former companions. The hero can tell that these women were of special species. Arios can't believe that such species are with that loser, imagining that these girls were using Rein as a slave. Kanade gets angry at those words. Rein did not want a conflict and asks why he came to meet with him.
Arios offers to work with him again. He explains that he has a lot of difficulties to go to a magical forest, as he had animal control skills, as he would be of good help to explore and carry objects. Rein refuses to return to that group, because he had been kicked out of the group like a dog. Arios and the others in his group behave in a vain manner. They tell him that he should be grateful to them for asking him to return to the group.
The protagonist knows these scumbags are hopeless, tells them to find another wimp and leaves.
As he leaves, one of the girls explains to them that the mission is to find a shield. Said shield is needed to fight the king of the demons.
As Arios was the hero, they needed his help.
Rein knows that if the demons return, they will most likely cause other disasters like in his childhood. He has no choice but to accept. Arios and his group get angry for not having accepted from the beginning,
insulting then leaving.
The girls were tired of listening to the taunts of these scumbags. Tanya angrily asks them that if they want Rein's help they must apologize, but an apology on their knees, for making their master suffer. The hero is very angry and does not intend to apologize.
The other members also refuse and also spread more insults. Arios does not stop getting angry and even starts insulting the special girls by calling them Rein's pets.
Rein can't tolerate this and punches him in the face. He tells him he will teach him a lesson. The hero proposes to have a group fight to show who's boss.
Kanade gives him the fight against a pelado.
The bald guy gets confident thinking she was just a simple woman and ends up losing.
The next fight was Tanya against a mage and a priestess. But Tanya had the ability to nullify magic.
They tease that they have the best magics possible, but Tanya ends up nullifying all the magics sent to her. In the end, they ended up running out of magic and Tanya took advantage of it to be able to use fire magic.
Those girls didn't want to die and end up apologizing for their bad attitudes. Now is the final battle between the hero Arios and Rein.
The fight begins with Arios' attack. Rein realizes that the title of hero he had was not for fun, showing that he has skills with the sword. But Rein was different from the past. He uses the Kanade skills he acquired. Striking blow after blow, Rein had the upper hand. Arios prides that he has the special magic of heroes and will never lose. When suddenly Arios was unable to move, Rein explains to him that he used the ability to control insects and had them poison him. Now that he was helpless, Arios tells him that they used to be friends and there is no need to hit him, but Rein can't forget the bad times this bastard put him through.
He gave a very strong blow.
The blow he gave did not affect the hero and made him step aside. Tanya and Kanade returned from their battles. They were overjoyed and hugged Rein. Today, Rein had thrown off an emotional burden. He now had a better group to rely on.